So you may remember that New York City got rid of the reign of terror of Bill de Blasio, the socialist maniac who ruined New York City for about 8 years. And they voted in this other Democrat, Mayor Eric Adams, who just took over in the last couple months, who, once again, my good liberal friends, who I suppose are well-intentioned, but get everything wrong. They said, no, he won't be a radical. He'll be good. Yeah, well, here he is, keeping kids, toddlers in masks.
If you were talking to a 4-year-old and trying to explain why they have to keep their mask on, but their 6-year-old brother doesn't, what is your explanation to that 4-year-old?
I'm so happy you said that, because when I was in Rockaway in the St. Pat's Day Parade, I did just that. A group of parents brought me and talked to their children and explained to them. I told them, you're going to be taking off your mask like your big brothers and sisters are doing now. You know, when you have big brothers and sisters, sometimes they do things first to make sure it's safe for you. And those children, they understand it because they trust their parents and they trust their leadership. They're not tainted like adults. You know, they still feel that we have to make the right decisions for them. And I'm with the parents. I want those masks off. I said it in January, but I have to do it right to make sure our city protect its children and don't close down the city again.
We really live in two different countries. Perhaps it's more than two different countries at this point, but I don't live in the same country as that man. I don't want to live in the same country as that man. I want people like him to have absolutely nothing to do with me, and that is why right now we are building a giant moat around my house. As I said the other day, we're filling it with gators, and I just put an order in. We sent the paperwork over to Israel. I'm getting an Iron Dome system around my house. I want nothing to do with these people. Now notice, of course, let's just do the easy stuff up top. He didn't say one thing about science, right? So there is 100% no science that has come out anywhere that says that toddlers, he's talking about 2- and 3-year-olds, have to be masked while their older brothers who should do stuff before them, while they don't have to be masked. Okay, so there's no science. So he quoted no science there. And then the line that really gets you. These kids, he's talking about these toddlers, they're not tainted like adults. Think about what that means. He's right, they're not tainted like adults. Kids come into this world and they're born free and they're naive. The world is what is put in front of them. And then they need adults to teach them how to think. They need adults to teach them what freedom is and to be able to critically think about what's going on. A toddler cannot do that. So if you force a toddler to wear a mask and then make them feel one day when you're 5 years old, you'll be able to take off the mask, they're just going to believe you. So they are breeding a generation of robots, and that's what they want. They want a bunch of dependent, depressed robots. I'm sorry, there's just no other way to look at that. I just don't know how you could possibly see it any other way. And remember, he was supposed to be the good guy. He's not as crazy as lefty lunatic Bill de Blasio. That's what they said. And I'm sorry, if you now have a child that's 3 years old and you are living in New York City under the rule of that man, you're a child abuser in essence. I don't see a way around it. You're a child abuser. You are letting the state abuse your child, put your children in masks. We know kids are getting mouth sores. It's causing delayed speech and depression, all of the stuff. You all know all this stuff. And if you're just letting them do it, then congratulations. Your kids are going to put you in a really, really cheap old age home one day where you'll most likely be abused by one of their friends. But there's more from New York City because some parents have had it. He said that he made it seem like the parents want this, right? This is what the parents want because I love parents. Not exactly the truth. We've got some info here from the New York Post. Roughly 100 parents and children gathered in front of New York's City Hall Monday to protest continuing mask mandates for the city's youngest kids. There is nothing I wouldn't do to keep my daughter safe, but it is my fervent belief, a belief supported by science, that continuing to mask 2- to 4-year-olds is unnecessary, said Dr. Megan Martin, who has two children ages 6 and 4. Masking tots hampers their development and must be abandoned, she argued. The policy does real harm to their education and social growth, she said, and it was the oath I took as a physician to first do no harm that is bringing me here today. The rally-goers said they plan to file a lawsuit that will challenge the ongoing face covering requirement for children 4 and under. If you want to know sort of what level of abject bullshit we're dealing with, do you remember what happened a week ago today? Do you guys remember what we were doing a week ago today? Remember we ordered some pizza and some tequila and we watched that elderly man give that ridiculous speech where he slurred all his words? Yeah, I remember that. That was a week ago. That was the State of the Union. That was Joe Biden. He's 81 years old. Is that right? How old is Joe Biden? Something like that, or he's 78, 81, whatever he is. But the guy's obviously not doing so great with a bunch of other geriatric old people, most of them who have trouble standing up out of their chairs. He's 79 years old, thank you. But he acts 81. They were all in a room that was closed, that was not outdoors, and they were hugging and kissing and spitting all over each other. Nancy Pelosi was rubbing her evil claws together, remember that, as she sat right behind old Joe. The day before that, Joe was wearing a mask. That day, he didn't wear a mask. The day after, he was wearing a mask again. It's all theater. It's all bullshit. I just don't know what they have done. How did they take the fucking thing out of your brain that makes you think? But they did it. And congratulations to them for being very good at what they do, even though they're very evil. But which is more dangerous? Really think about it, please, scientists. If you're a scientist, if you're a Media Matters guy who watches my show, please help me. Please help me. Please show me the study that shows me it's more dangerous for 3-year-olds to be unmasked than Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. Please show it to me. But I get that you can't do it. I know you can't.